and I was waiting. Why does Hashem want me to be in this corner for so long? I'm waiting and waiting. I finally get through. There's another procession with another non-Jewish Leviah. Oh my gosh. I was in line waiting for a good 25 minutes today. Okay, so if you can find that pasuk, it would be good. If not, I'll find a film or something. So I wanted just to talk to you guys a little bit today about something a little different than we did last time. And that is the reasons why people do Kiruv. Why do people do what we do? And I'm not asking you to identify like a pasuk in the Torah, which I'm going to show you in a few seconds, but it has nothing to do with what you think, or some mitzvah out there. Why do you think people are involved with Kiruv? What do you think? Why do you do it?
Why do I do it?
Yeah.
We're curious.
Yeah, go ahead. You don't want to share that? You committed 4 or 5 years already, maybe many more in the future. You don't want to share why you do Kiruv?
I think that
You should share it.
I happen to enjoy doing it a lot. I like teaching. I like being in the field of knowledge. I don't like just sitting behind the desk. I think that there's when you see a problem going on, I think that you look especially if you're a bystander or something.
Okay. Now, you see what happened, by the way. You made a big shift. Did you catch the shift or not yet? Did you catch it? What happened first? What was his first gut reaction? Use it as a barometer. Now everybody's going to go the other way once I do this. But what was the shift?
They're personal, and one of those.
Right, and then you talked about, what was the second one you started talking about? Crisis or something? What word did you use? No. Yeah, you don't want to be an innocent bystander, but you meant there was a.
When you see a
problem. When you see a problem. What is the problem that you see?
I see a tremendous lack of, at the base level, Jewish identity.
Lack of Jewish identity.
And I would even say, at some level, especially once they reach university, I would say shame in being Jewish.
So right now, there's a lack, and it gets all the way to becoming shameful.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Depends on what university they go to.
You taking all this? That was Rabbi Levison, everybody. Yeah, okay, good.
I think it depends on what university they go to.
Okay, but let's get specific.
Yeah.
First of all, you enjoy teaching, you like giving over, and then you realize there's also a tremendous problem out there. So you merge the two things. You said there's a big problem, and I love teaching. I can go with Kiruv. Right? That makes total sense to me. That makes total sense. I'm very similar to that. When you see a problem, innocent, don't be bystander. Okay, what about you girls? Anything to say? Any of you guys? Oh, what? Do we have to do this? This huge big room, everybody's so separated.
We're very permanent this one.
I remember you. Please remind me. Oh, you were not here last time? Okay, who are you? I'm sorry? Adina and Adina. That's good. Kursner. God, you're not from no Kursner. Okay, fine. Okay. So okay.
Everyone who works for Lifting Game is Adina, by the way.
Oh, that's the way it goes. All right, Adina Kursner. Either of the Adinas. Before I talk to you, think about it. Why do you do what you do?
Responsibility.
Okay, responsibility. What is that responsibility come out of? Like, there's responsibility to if you take your parents' car or your own car, you fill up the gas. You have responsibility to fill up the gas. What's the responsibility that you take?
You said not to bring in a mitzvah or something, but.
No, you can bring in a mitzvah. I'm just saying, I'm going to show you that.
You are part of the distinction. Care about this and see people off.
What's wrong with
that don't care that they're part of the distinction?
So you feel that they're off.
Like we're all
We're right, they're wrong. Let's bring them closer.
No.
That's nothing wrong with people saying that.
No, we're like one.
Okay. We're one nation. I don't want to make it harder for you. Yeah. One nation. We have to worry about everybody. So we're one nation. Huh? Okay, I raise them. That's right. Okay, so we're responsible. We're responsible for one another. Absolutely. So Hatzalah, are you involved with Hatzalah?
counts as color?
Right.
Okay. How about? By the way, I didn't just ask you that question. What about do you work for Jewish Information Services? Do you know what that is? There's a woman who sits outside there about 10 hours a day, answering questions for the Jewish people who have no clue what it means to be part of Klal Yisrael in Toronto. They say, like, where do I get a shaykhah? Where do I get a moil? Where do I get kosher food? Where do I find out about a Jewish JCC? What do I do? There's a woman who sits out there all day long answering thousands of questions, Jewish Information Services. And by the way, if you want to know what Torah is and it's right the address, and you don't know, you call that lady, she'll tell you. I don't even know the phone number, but it's amazing. Jewish Information Services. That's a chesed for Klal Yisrael. So it's not just that.
She volunteers her time.
No, they pay her.
I thought that was wrong.
Oh, it could be, maybe, you know what? It's always old people, so maybe it's
just like door readers.
yeah, it could be. I don't want to say yes or no. Maybe it is. Field volunteer. So what are good factors now? What did I say? So you say because you have responsibility, but you don't do every kind of responsibility. You do a lot of chesed. That's for sure true. So why particularly in Kiruv? That's what I'm trying to get to. Why Kiruv? There's a responsibility, but everybody has a responsibility. Responsibility, there's 1,000 ways to be responsible to somebody. If you took care of just your parents, you don't have to do any other mitzvahs. That's it. You're involved. You're racing. Think about it.
Spiritually thinking.
Oh, okay.
Everything else can be more physical, which is also great.
Spiritual responsibility. Where did you write that? Spiritual. Now, what's more important? Guy is having a heart attack. He's having a heart attack, and he's dying in his house. Or somebody does not know what page Kaddish is in his sitter. Which is worse? The immediate death thing, right? So you consider that spiritual responsibility is more or less bigger than the one I just described. I'm just pushing back. I'll tell you why I'm going to push back in a minute. You'll see. All this hopefully makes some sense at the end. Hopefully. Think about what I just said. Because we do that. We do spiritual responsibility, and we trade that off for other things. We trade it off. Why do we trade it off? What is so critical about that? And it's so important. If you understand the answer to that, you understand the whole thing. You want to say something?
Well, I didn't grow up religious, so for me it's different. I became religious because of the Kiruv organization, so it changed my entire life. It would be where I am now, so I feel that...
Payback.
Not just payback, but...
Classic payback in the Kiruv world, yeah?
Not payback, but like, I see how much it's affected my life and how much better my life is, so that you just... taste this, it tastes great. When somebody has something good, they want to share with everyone else.
Is your life better, really?
Yes.
How do you know that?
How do I know that? Because
Yeah.
I practice life.
How do you know by this point in your life you wouldn't have had it
Because
together?
I didn't have values that would have given me a proper life. I grew up in a broken home. I didn't realize what proper relationships were like, what certain values, I just didn't have them. And my life changed completely.
Okay, now wait a minute. Do you mind if I push back a little bit here?
Go ahead.
If you were involved with some cult somewhere, in some cultural whatever, and the organization came to you and brought you some kind of clarity in that cult, or that religion, Christianity, Muslim, Islam, whatever that is, would you have felt the same way as you do now? Is it Judaism that saved you, or just the fact that you got a warm, friendly shift in the way that you live your life?
Yeah, but it's not just warm and friendly. I mean, warm and friendly is obviously, it's good to feel part of the community, but besides that, you see values that you want to have in your life. Like maybe they have certain values that you want to have in your life all the time too, but it's just more of a long-term pleasure. Like one of those.
Judaism is a long-term pleasure.
Yeah, like how to have basically how to live the best life possible, and like because the Jewish ethics and morals are the norm for the whole world, basically the proper one. So then that's.
You were one cheap Jew, you know?
I needed to recharge. I know.
You might want to share that with 6 or 7 people. Rabbi Iris, thank you. Very good. Look, I want to write down what you said, though. That Judaism really gave you, on a personal level, clarity of life, clarity of purpose. That's what you really said. That long term, this religion gave you a better lifestyle. And that's why you want to give it back to other people. But it's not for everybody. Let's say you live in a home and your family's happily married, parents are happily married, and you have 4 or 5 siblings, and everybody's like going on vacations together, and we all clean the house together. We have Friday night dinners, and we go to every simcha, we speak Yiddish, we say the word kavel a lot. And we say, like we're involved with a lot of things. What's wrong with that lifestyle?
There's nothing wrong with it. You can always be happier. Life can always get better.
How does Judaism make my life better?
Because everybody has things they need to work on. Not every family is perfect. So maybe they're good at family time, but maybe, let's say the parents are not a perfect role model of what a good relationship is.
Let's say they are.
Okay, but there's something. There's something that's missing. Not everything can be perfect. There's maybe you don't have good friends, or you don't understand the value of
See, I'm going to push back very hard right now, okay? You ready? Are there more or less people in the last 100 years learning Torah?
Less.
More, many more. Exponentially more.
Okay.
Is a frum family expanding more today than ever before? Much more. Exponentially more. There are more frum families than ever before. If you think of Toronto in the 1930s versus 2012, exponential frum families, frum children. How about Jewish day schools? Are there more Jewish day schools today than there were 50 years ago, 40 years ago?
Probably.
For sure, and there's thousands of more kids. You know what the divorce rate in the Orthodox community was 40 years ago? 3%. You know what divorce today in the Orthodox community is? Closer to 15%. Go up to 15%.
10% already?
Huh?
Over 10%.
I think so, yeah. I think I saw something. Now watch this. Does Torah make us a better family or not?
Torah itself doesn't make you a better family. It's how you use it.
Okay, so hold on a second. You see that there's more Torah, and there's more families, and there's more Yiddishkeit, but there's more divorce. That means Judaism is not translating the home the way you describe it. Yeah. I'm just pushing back. I want to give an argument that eventually at the end of the argument you'll see some clarity, but I don't know if it's going to get there. We'll see. But you see what I'm trying to say? It's not just Judaism that saves the family. More Judaism, more broken families.
Yeah, but it's all about how you bring things across. Like if you look like a Torah Jew, but you don't behave like a Torah Jew, so it doesn't matter.
Ah, okay, that's true. Yeah, that's
There's more
true.
quantity of Torah, but
Quality. That's absolutely right. That is where I'm trying to get to. Is the quality of Judaism better today than before? Probably not, right? For sure. The depth of the learning is not anywhere close. Yeshiva Chachmei Lublin had 70 Talmidim in it. And I think at its height, 70. Mir has 5,000 or 6,000. But many Gedolim would weigh out the 70 for the 5,000 in quality. So it's true, we do that. So I was trying to give you a hard time. You were totally right with what you said in every respect. The truth is that Judaism is, on a certain level, you have clarity of purpose, and you want to give that clarity of purpose to as many people as possible, because you enjoy that, and you think that Torah is going to change their life. But it's not just the Torah. It's the depth of the Torah. It's the quality, not the quantity. This is a very important akudah. We're going to get to this in a second. You'll understand exactly what I'm trying to get. Quality versus quantity. And this is the punchline for today. We're going to get to that. Thank you. What do you want to share? Why do you fear?
Yeah, sure. Because I feel bad for these people.
Pity?
Which is, I want to help people, and I've tried different ways of helping people, which is helping sick people, helping this, helping that, but it always comes back to that I feel that they don't have this opportunity, so they're really missing the larger experience.
Of life.
Yeah. You can help give them, make them feel good and smile, which you should anyways, but if they're missing this piece, the Yiddish guy, so they're just, like they're going to lose out, obviously, in this world, this world is important, but I'm much more concerned about their overall future. As opposed
So
to
you do really pity them. You pity these people. You think if they're missing out here,
and a great opportunity,
And a great
to live
opportunity.
a much more meaningful life.
but they could be living a very meaningful life to them. You're saying that you don't agree with the lifestyle that they're leading.
I feel that there's a Torah that gives a certain barometer for us, and even if they're living in their mind a very happy life, and quite possibly they will be happier before they found Yiddishkeit and afterwards, in their mindset, I think maybe they'll have more stress financially after they come from.
That's
Pesach.
So we can talk about Pesach.
Tuition.
Tuition.
Yeah, I'm not so concerned about that. I'm much more concerned truth, and this is what they should be exposed to, and have an opportunity to learn.
Okay. So we want to chime in. We're going to be the last person, and we're going to wrap it up.
Sure. I mean, I do specifically teenagers. I don't think that I want to do Kiruv in general. I don't see myself as running a shul. I don't want to do Kiruv for adults. I specifically enjoy doing Kiruv for teenagers, maybe for university, because I feel that they are at a tremendous crossroads. They're making big decisions that will affect the rest of their lives, and I think that as a Jew, if they have Torah values, if they have that involved in that in their life, their chances of achieving their potential are much higher than without it.
So you want them to achieve their potential. So you do it out of what? Cancel everything else you said. Teenagers, adolescent, opportunity. You want them to achieve their potential. What does that mean? What do you mean that you want them to achieve their potential?
I want them to be the greatest that they can be.
But that only means in the spiritual
my,
realm. You don't help them get jobs, do you?
Yeah, sometimes I do.
How many students do you have?
I have a bunch of students.
How many students do you have?
Currently?
Yeah.
20.
How many students have you had in the last 10 years of your life?
Hundreds.
How many students have you helped get a job?
It's not
25?
right now.
30?
Whatever they'll come to me for.
No, listen to my point.
I already
Don't win back. What's that?
I already know.
No, that's true. He says he wants to help you reach their high potential. So I'm asking from a spiritual perspective. If it's a spiritual thing, that's true. But is that really true? Is it just spiritually? Do you want them to reach their potential only spiritually?
I don't think it's just spiritually. I don't think job is necessarily what they need as a teenager.
I'm not saying job.
Whatever opportunity they're looking for and setting them up for success, it could be social skills. Plenty of time in Torah, I teach them social skills. You know, it's not just spiritually. I think that it's a full picture. Torah's a guide. It gives you for every moment of your day what you're how to set yourself up for success. So it could be today in terms of their relationship with Hashem. It could be just how to speak to their parents properly, or how to engage their friends properly, or
But the ultimate goal is what? They should be better friends, better
they should
children,
be better people.
And if they were just better people, not from, you'd be okay with that?
I'm not okay with it, but I think they're miles ahead of where they were before I met them.
And if they intermarry, but they're really nice to their parents, were you successful?
To an extent, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but also I want to chime in that I feel that it is very important to help them out in all ways. Like there are people who we've definitely helped get clothes, get other stuff, all pay stuff time. I've helped a lot of people get food, but that doesn't get me going because I know that there are a ton of people who that's their entire existence. From
Other people.
Yeah, a ton of organizations and other things. That could happen with everybody. I feel that if I'm not the one who deals with this, nobody will.
Best positioned and skilled to achieve results.
No, I feel that if they wouldn't have food, I would do food the entire day because otherwise they'll be dead. Like for sure, I'll do that. Right? That's not the question.
Okay.
But there are a million people who are doing
Yes.
for that.
Okay, thank you. I want to just clarify your point. Your point is that Judaism, you should be involved with Kiruv because Kiruv is the answer to all of their problems. Being a better person, getting a job, helping another, that's what you think you're doing here, or doing in Kiruv. How do I quantify that? Overarching need to help. To help? Is that the right word? I don't even know. Okay, here's what I'm trying to answer. Did you say anything? I'm not sure. You want to say something?
Responsibility.
You said responsibility? Did I say that?
I just have a question.
Yeah. Where's this going? Yeah, me too.
Let's say if you're someone's going to come from an elevator, not to be happier, let's say.
Yeah, that happens.
Then what do you think about that? Like, is it, do you think that you should make them from smell?
Yeah. Oh, is that a sidebar?
Yeah.
Okay, sidebar for the camera. I'll tell you what I think about
No,
that.
kind of.
What Shmuel was saying?
Yeah.
So that's an interesting point. I totally do not agree with Shmuel on that. But that's, you know, that. Here's the question. The question is, Shmuel said, if they're nice to their parents, but they intermarry, I was successful in what I was supposed to do with that person.
That's kind of twisting my words.
And we have cameras.
I will not argue with you that is what it
Has
is.
certain extent that got them to be nice to the parents.
Yes, yes.
So you get them to do the other mitzvah.
Love thy neighbor as you love thyself. Matthew 47.
Like one more mitzvah.
You want to go with that one? What's that?
Let's say someone has totally a good family life, whatever you're saying. And then taking them from is going to make them not rebel against
Happens
their
all the time.
Right,
People
and
get
then-
divorced and
and
their
then
family
legit, I'm just asking what you think.
You see that if they won't become from, if they do become from, but their life would be worse because of it?
Not necessarily, yeah, not worse, but like let's say family life or like more stressful.
Yeah, so I'll tell you something very interesting. This is not for now. We'll do this another time. We have like 5 more minutes on this one. Do you believe? I'm going to ask you the question for answer what I think the answer is for me, anyways. Do you believe that everybody should become fro? Did we talk about this here? We did this? That's an awesome
I heard you
conversation.
mention
Do you believe that every single person should become fro?
No.
Not really.
Are Jews hardwired for? Are Jews hardwired for religion?
How could I say that? How could I make that decision?
Well, let me ask you something. Are all of Yaakov Avinu's children fro?
You're just a thing.
Yeah.
It's a relatively new thing.
Yeah.
Torah observant.
Yeah, what I meant by that is, if you hold by Rashi's understanding of how they left Mitzrayim, 12 million Jews decided not to be fro. 3 million Jews leave Egypt, right? 600,000 men, plus wives, plus children. So the vast majority of Jews were not Maminim b'nei Maminim, even though they were just the grandchildren of Yaakov Avinu, or of the Shvatim. Was everybody hardwired to believe in it? Everybody.
Maybe.
Yes.
Only a fifth of the Jewish people left. The rest
I'm
of them
saying.
left.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. That's my raya. And there's many more rayas.
So you're
In
saying
all the generations, are we? If you were in the Warsaw versus the shtetl of Tikachin, were you frummer? The second you went out of the shtetl, when you saw the rest of the world, you dropped it. Is that the way the world should be?
I don't know.
Let's say, for instance, because what happens is, as long as you're isolated and you're part of the shtetl and you marry each other, the butcher's son becomes the butcher, right? So as long as that's perpetuating itself, so we're going to be who we are. Not because we're exposed to anything, because we're exposed to nothing. Once you're exposed to the world, and there's other things are there, are we still hardwired to become observant and Torah observant Jews?
It's
When the rest of the world is out there.
Yeah, but you have the Kiruv. The entire world is hardwired not to.
Ah, so that's interesting, right? The world is really hardwired not to believe in a Kaddish Baruch Hu. So is religion hardwired in Jews? Could all Jews reach Hashem?
So could all?
Should all or could all? No, I asked the question, can all?
Oh, can all?
No, I asked that originally. As a response to Shira's Adira, whatever, Kerzner, right? Your response. So, can a person, not should, because we know that's something else. Is everybody hardwired? In fact, we know that the world is actually the opposite generally, that people are hardwired not to believe in it.
well, they could reach Hashem, but not necessarily like
They all have
other
abilities
people
to.
set them to do it.
Say that again?
I don't know if that makes any
Say
sense.
it again.
I mean, everyone could, because
But can everybody? Some people are just
Maybe
not
not.
believers in God. I don't believe in God. Do you know how many? I got a call on Purim in this room on the night of Purim from a mother who called me telling me her son was in a particular frum school. She moved that school, or her son, to another frum school in Toronto, and her son is basically off the derech. What can I do for them? On Purim night. I was in this room actually for a half hour on Purim. People are not hardwired. The kid doesn't want it. He had a frum lifestyle. His older brothers into it. He's not into it. His younger brothers are into it. He's not into it. Doesn't believe in it. He said to her, I don't believe the propaganda you've been pitching me for the last 16 years. That's a tough sentence to hear from a kid. Okay, we're off. Okay, can I tell you? I'm going to tell you I do believe, by the way, that Jews are hardwired to be religious. I do believe that. I think the mistake has been in our culture is that religion is wrong today, the way I think about it.
So
That everybody is doing one kind of thing, that if you don't fit that kind of
That's
thing,
what I was trying to
you're
say.
not in. And I think that's the error. I think there's a lot of ways. The Shivim Panim Torah, there's a reason why Chazal teaches that principle.
Can I just comment on that?
Yeah.
No, so as Gemara says, that the Rasi is a hard of Rasi Torah Tafel.
Right.
No, but I mean, a person's bad and hardwired to do bad things.
No, but everybody has
They're
a...
not hardwired toward Yiddishkeit. Because the Gemara also says that, that Jewish people are always the children of Finale and Yaakov, so like, no matter what, a Jew is a Jew. But I don't know if necessarily hardwired to be from them. And I say that, and I say the word,
that's what we're hardwired.
I say the word from very broadly.
Yeah, but I think we're hardwired for three.
You could do all of that without believing in God.
Yeah, exactly. That's also true. Those three things I just said.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, that's why you have all these people who are not showing shadows,
Yeah.
but who are still at the forefront of every single civil rights movement.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. We proudly march and we give right there.
Dina, I said Dira before. Dina, I got it. I want to give you your own personality. Yes, go ahead.
Sometimes, like, we don't have enough belief in ourselves or in other people. Like, there's that concept that Hashem gives you an style, it's because you can handle it. We don't always believe we can handle it. Obviously, Hashem does. He gave it to us. It's the same way that we come from. We look at other people like they can never become from. You know, read God or keep God or something like that. But like what they are saying, every person has the fear, every person has the ability to become from. We just don't believe in them or believe in ourselves.
Yeah, but you're leaving. We don't believe in ourselves and we don't believe in them. They don't believe it themselves. There's a boy who just came here this week.
That's what I was saying. Like, you sometimes better not. Like, you see your lives are going to become more difficult.
Yeah. So the truth is, the question is, what does that mean more difficult? I don't know what that really. That's why I wasn't sure how to respond. What does it mean more difficult? Because it's gonna tuition, Shabbos, Sneas. I don't know what more difficult means when you compare it to a life that's more secular. That life could be also much more difficult. You could be dealing with challenges that you can't believe. When you have lots of Lashon Hara, by the way, limiting your Lashon Hara makes your life better. Increasing your Lashon Hara makes your life much worse. So if you have no standards for Lashon Hara in the world, I'm telling you, I had a group of people in my house last night after the thing, they came to tell me how much Lashon Hara goes on in their world. So much Lashon Hara. You can't imagine. If they can make one change in their world, it will be the Lashon Hara. They're not from. But they realize that there's a mila to that. So yeah, if you don't have criteria, your life could be worse in a different way. I don't know. I don't believe Judaism today, as it is, makes your life worse. There's enough simcha. It could be that if your kids don't have the capacity to buy the right clothing, and all the kids in that school do or that class, and you don't drive the right car, and all the kids do and you don't, and that person is trying to be from, and the qualities of frumkeit are determined not on your spiritual side, but on your physical side, that is true. You go into a community, very often, you know this about down south, the guy in a little bungalow is living next to the person with the monster house. The guy in the bungalow's kids go to the same school. How do they interact? So I want, that kid could say, frumkeit means that. I'm not going to be that, and I don't want to be where my parents are, so I'm not in. That could be. We see a lot of that, actually. That's very challenging. You don't see so much of that in Thorn Hill, and that kind of dichotomy in religion, because it's not the same. People are living in a 2,000 square foot house or 3,000 square foot house, not 2,000 and 22,000 square foot house. It's just a different thing. I'm not sure if I answered sort of a little bit. Let's get to Nakuda. We got to go to another thing right now. Okay? Here's what I wanted to get to. Okay? This is interesting, by the way. How there wasn't an evolution because I think I cut the evolution off right at the core.
What do you do?
I don't know what I do. I've been doing it now for 20 years. Mine takes a lot more to explain, but I'll maybe through this. I'll tell you. I actually believe in this pasuk I'm going to show you, and I'll tell you right here. If you look at Yidati, L'man Asher Yitzah V'Esbana V'Esbeso L'Afra, right? Block it for me. Can you see that? After Hashem Derech Hashem L'Asot Tzedakah Mishpat L'man Hevi Hashem Al Abraham Es Hashem Yibra Allah. For I know him because he commands his son and his household. Now you know Yidati is translated as love. Da. Adam Yada et Chava. This da is not translated properly, not here in the other one before. But not because he knows him, because I know him, because I love him. Why does Hashem love Abraham? Because he commands his sons and his sons after him. They should keep the ways of the Lord and perform the righteousness and justice. Remember, the Lord bring upon Abraham, and we've spoken about concerning him. The reason Hashem loves Abraham is not because Astam just Abraham. It's because Abraham is guaranteeing that children after children after children of his own children, which is us, our children, are teaching Tzedakah Mishpat, which is an unbelievable thing. The reason God loves Abraham is because Abraham is teaching his children Torah. Well, the reason. In other words, I won't tell you why. I'll tell you why I do it now. You'll understand a little bit. I don't know about enjoying teaching. I don't really know about giving over knowledge for clarity of purpose. I don't feel the pity for people. Best possible skills to answer results. I don't think I'm best positioned for this. When you see a problem, run for it. I'm not that guy. What is this one? can't remember when I wrote that. Lack of Jewish identity, therefore I have shameful. I don't have any of these things. I have one thing that I really, really care about. I actually love Torah. I love everything that has to do with Yiddishkeit. So I also love the people of that religion. So for me, I love Torah. And since I love Torah, I want to perpetuate that to as many people as possible who will listen to it. Nothing else really matters to me. I'm not in the best position. I don't enjoy it necessarily. I don't like giving over anything. I love what Torah is and what Torah can do to people. That's it. That's really my answer. So that's all I want to do. So my whole philosophy, if you ask anybody, is get as many people in the room as often as you can, to do as much as you can. Why are we teaching Torah? I was upset last night. We had a thing. I was upset Friday night. I wanted to say over Torah at Oneg. The kids did not allow me to give Torah, say over anything. I wanted to do something last night. There was a kid supposed to speak. The kid never spoke, and I never spoke. It bugs me. Like, to bring kids into a room and not teach Torah bugs me. We're just finishing in 2 minutes.
Oh, you're still pregnant. Okay.
Yeah, 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes. So it drives me crazy, because that is the reason I got into this. I came into the world, not because I want to do anything. It's because I believe that I love Torah, and part of my loving Torah is that I want to perpetuate that love to other people. That's it. I'm not skilled. I'm not better. I don't have qualities, and I just passion. Passion, by the way, is the greatest thing you'll ever have in life. You should just know something. Man, I don't have enough time. I'm sorry I was in a funeral today. But I want to tell you something really important, okay? Passion, best in the world, economic engine, $. You see this here? This circle here. This is the best advice I'll ever give you anywhere, okay? If you can figure out what you love the most, what would drive your economic engine, that means what people will give you money to do, and that you could best have a strategy to be the best in the world, not to be the best, but the strategy in the world. If you can figure what that is, you can do whatever you're going to do in life for the rest of your life, and you'll be successful. Think about an artist. An artist might be very passionate, might be the best in the world, but no one buys his stuff. How often is he going to do it? Or people will spend a lot of his. People will buy a lot of his stuff. He's the best, but he don't paint anything. He just doesn't like doing it. It's not going to go anywhere. If you can figure what this is, you know what this is to me? This is Torah. This is Torah, living Torah itself. I'm very passionate about it. I'm able to do it very well, and I can drive the engine that allows me to do that. Because of that, I'm able to do what I'm doing. You figure out each one of you. We'll do another exercise, whatever. This is an amazing. This is actually called the hedgehog concept in a book called Good to Great. It's an amazing thing. Here's my point. Here's the punchline. We're going to wrap it up. Okay. The reason all this is important is we love each other, we love the Jewish people, we pity them, and we want to give them all this stuff. That's all good. Here's what happens in NCSY. Let's get to the bottom line now, okay? In NCSY, what happens is if they say, okay, well, I'm going to a program. Let's call it Earn and Learn. Let's go call it a Purim party. Let's do the Purim party because it's much better though. The 20, 30 kids that show up to the house, okay? So is that a positive Jewish experience or not? So most people say, yeah, because they're not on the streets, they're not at their friend's house, they're just doing a Torah thing.
They all said Torah.
It was beautiful. Yeah, no, it could be. One would say that was a quantity thing. So 20, 30 people in a row. And then Leah spending his whole time doing this. What are you doing next year? How's it going? What are you doing this summer? And had to announce what they're doing next summer, which is like nuts. But here's what happened in NCSY. What we do in NCSY too often, way too often, this is where we're going to pick it up next week if we still have time. We can. And we're going to leave it here. What we do in NCSY too often is we're comfortable saying, if they're in a program, if they're in the room, then we survive, then we're successful. To me, that's quantity. But if they're in the room and nothing is happening to them while they're in the room, in other words, they're not learning, they're not engaged, the advisor or the staff member is not taking them and saying, hey, what are you doing next Shabbos? What is happening? So I know what happened to my house last night. A girl was being picked up. The father walks into the house to pick up the daughter. I invite the father into the house. And he says, my wife's in the car. I said, go get your wife. Were you there for this? Yeah. Go get your wife. The husband comes in, the wife comes in. Take off your boots, come inside, come eat. Guess what? We're friends on email already. They're coming for Shabbos. They're thinking about coming for Pesach. Now that...
Thursday night she's going for cooking.
And what's her name?
Hannah
Spiro. Very nice girl. Here's what happens. She shows up, she's 25. But really, she's not 25. What we see is we see a room with 25. We should see one person 25 times. That's what really should be happening. One kid focusing on this kid. Where is she going? What's her life like? What is she? Is she into sneakers? Is she into clothing? Is she into food? She's a vegan. I'm going to try to carve her. Their parents said, we're just vegetarians. Just vegetarians. We're going to fix that too. So wonderful people, beautiful people, amazing midos, right? But it's not about 25 people in the room. It's about 25 individuals in the room. And that's what we missed out on. So what happens is, very often we say, okay, I like teaching, therefore I'm going to teach to hundreds. But then we forget about the one kid. Who is that one kid we're trying to help out? And why are we trying to help them out? We're trying to help them out. Everybody has their own reasons. In my world, I want to give them as much Torah as possible. Because I think Torah by itself, marketed well, is a transformative thing. That's what you were saying. If I can teach them Torah, I can transform them. I think there's a maneuver, a way to do that, because quality of Torah and quantity of Torah are completely different things. The quantity is for sure more today, but the quality is very, very low. The same woman who told me about her son once on Purim night, she said, we have big problems in our family. I said, what are those family problems? She said, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do that. And I said, then she said, but I can't remember exactly the conversation, but one thing she said was, we don't role model properly to our son. I said, so what do you mean? She says to me, my husband doesn't learn. Now, that's probably true. The fact that she would say that to me also means there's something wrong with her. Something else is going on in this quality of Jewish life that is allowing a kid to navigate through the pressures of that experience. So we're going to get to this another time. I wanted to go through this because I want to make sure that we understand why we do something, how we get to the conclusions, and I'm going to keep this piece of paper and we'll pick it up here. The point is, when we want to do Kiruv, why do we do it? What's driving us? How are we going to get matzliach? How are we going to get to the people? We have to make sure we're doing it for all the right reasons, A. And B is, even when you're doing it, what are you really doing? Are you just getting them into a room because the room is going to fix it? Or are you going to get them into a place in their own lives, and then you're going to help them literally holding their hand through an entire process? You know that in the old days, we used to go, this is on video, so you'll check it out. We used to go from house to house to house to pick up applications from kids to come to a Shabbaton. Knock on the doors. Hi, would you please apply? It's Wednesday, Shabbaton's Friday. Just give it to me. We would call every kid 100 times. Sometimes it happens at the last minute. But today, you send an email. And if they don't respond to your email, you send another email. And they don't respond to that email, they're ignoring you. That's what generally is happening out there. The email world has been a disaster in my case. A disaster in my opinion for Kiruv. I think it's the wrong way to go, because it's all about this quantity. Well, I send out 50 emails, but the quality of an email, if you change it, focus it onto one individual person and how can I help you, and get rid of email actually altogether and talk about, get a phone call. And what you were saying to me last week, you're writing a report and you said I spoke to this boy and you realized you hadn't spoke to him, you were texting him the whole time, right? You never actually heard his voice. Big issue today. We talk about Kiruv and technology all the time. But this is the point. That just saying to the kid, just saying I got the kid on TJJ is to me a big F. It's not enough. It's not true. All I know by getting a kid on TJ is I spent $4,000 on my kid. That's all I know. That's all I know. I know nothing else. All I know I get a scholarship. Is TJJ a transformative experience by itself? It is not. You told me you have a kid who just came back, he's no longer associated with the organization. Now, every kid's not like that? Of course not. There are exceptions. There are people like that. But to me, to get a kid just on the bus, to just to a porn party, to just a Hanukkah thing, to just to my house, it's not enough. We're going to talk about, that's where we're going to leave this conversation, I'm sorry. We're going to talk about that more at another time. But just getting the kid on the bus into a program is not enough. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to use these examples. Sorry it was really late today, I apologize. I actually thought about this, I prepared for it, but I didn't get here to talk about it. Whoa, very sorry. Okay, girls, thank you. Whoever's staying,